Hello students, in the last video, lecture 21, we have started with unit number 5 of paper measure and integration theory. Now in this lecture, we will continue with the same unit and we will discuss some inequalities which are Jensen inequality, then Holder's inequality and Minkowski inequality in this video. So first, let's start with Jensen inequality. So the statement for Jensen inequality is as follows. Let x as u be a measure with measure space with mu of x equals to 1. If psi is a convex on open interval AB where minus infinity is less than a less than b, a is less than b and b is less than infinity. Also given that f is a measurable function such that a is less than f of x and f of x is less than b for all x. Then we have to prove that psi of integration f du is less than or equals to integration of psi f du. So let's start with the proof. So as given, let x as u be a measure space with mu of x equals to 1. Also given that let f be a measurable function with a less than f of x less than b for all x belongs to capital X. That is the measure space. Now obviously this positive part of this function and negative part of this function is integrable over x with respect to u. So by definition of integrable function, since the positive part and negative part of the function are integrable, this implies that f is integrable. Now let t is equals to integration of f du and let this be number 1. Then a is less than f less than b and u of mu of x is equals to 1. Now as given that psi is a convex function on the open interval AB, so psi is convex function on this open interval AB. So let here beta is equals to supremum of the set psi xt where such that x belongs to the open interval AT. So then for s belongs to AT, we have beta greater than or equals to psi of st. Therefore, by the definition, beta is greater than or equals to psi of t minus psi of s upon t minus s. Now multiplying by t minus and s on both sides, so we get t minus s into beta, which is greater than or equals to psi of t minus psi of s. Let this be number second. Now by theorem, for a less than s less than t less than u and less than b, psi of st is less than or equals to psi of tu, since psi is convex. And we have discussed this theorem in our previous video. Now by using this theorem here, we have beta is less than or equals to psi of tu for u belongs to the open interval tb. Now this implies that this beta is less than or equals to, by definition here we have psi of u minus psi of t upon u minus t. Now multiplying by u minus t, we get u minus t into beta less than or equals to psi of u minus psi of t. Now taking minus sign common, so we get minus of t minus u beta less than or equals to minus of psi of t minus psi of u. Now multiplying by minus 1 on both sides, we get t minus u beta greater than or equals to psi of t minus psi of u. So let this be number 3. So therefore by 2 and 3 we have two and 3 implies that psi of s, from 2 we have psi of s is greater than or equals to psi of t minus beta into t minus s, and from 3 we have psi of u greater than or equals to psi of t minus beta into t minus u. So henceforth for R belongs to AB, we have psi of R is greater than or equals to psi of t minus beta into t minus R. So this is greater than or equals to psi of t, taking minus term common from this term. So here plus of beta R minus t. So now let R is equals to f of x for x belongs to the measure x. Let R is equals to f of x for x belongs to the measure x. So therefore psi of f of x is greater than or equals to psi of t plus beta into f of x minus t. Let this be number 4. We have just put r in place, f of x in place of r in this statement. Now, as given, f is measurable and psi is convex, and convex function is continuous. We have proved that theorem in previous video. So therefore now f is measurable and psi is continuous. So this implies that psi dot f is measurable. So therefore this implies RHS of this equation 4 is integrable. That is, this function psi dot f of x is integrable. So RHS of 4 is measurable. Sorry, it's integrable. So therefore, integrating on the both sides of equation 4, we get integration psi dot f into du greater than or equals to, here integrating we get psi of t into mu of x plus beta into integration of f of x du minus t into u of x. Now, since this integration f du is equals to 1 and all is equals to t, because in starting of this theorem we have from 1 we have denoted integration of f du is equals to t. So here it becomes t and u of x is equals to 1. It is already given. Now putting this value, we get integration of psi dot t du greater than or equals to psi of t, since this mu of x is 1, plus beta into integration of f du is t, and minus t u of x is 1. So from this we get implies integration of psi dot f du is greater than or equals to psi of t, because here t minus t is 0 and the psi of t plus 0 is psi of t. But we know that t is equals to, integration f of du by 1. So therefore replacing this t with integration f du, this implies integration of psi f du greater than or equals to psi into integration f d, which is the required statement, and hence this inequality, which is called Jensen inequality, has been proved. So hence proved. Now the next inequality is Holder's inequality. So the statement is, let P and Q be non-negative extended real number such that 1 upon P plus 1 upon Q is equals to 1. If F belongs to the LP space over U and G belongs to the LQ space over U, then we have to prove that F dot G belongs to the L1 space over U, and integration of mod of F dot G du is less than or equals to integration of mod f to the power p du to the power 1 by p multiplied by integration mod of g to the power q du to the power 1 by q. So let's start with the proof. Here we have 1 by p plus 1 by q is equals to 1 for where p and q are non-negative extended real numbers. Then f belongs to the LP space over U and G belongs to the LQ space over U. We have to prove that f dot G belongs to L1 of U. So now let P is equals to 1. Now if we put P is equals to 1 in this equation, we get, so 1 by 1 plus 1 by Q is equals to 1. So 1 by Q is equals to 0. So therefore Q is equals to infinity. Now if P is equals to 1, then Q is equals to infinity, and this inequality is satisfied trivially. And the inequality is satisfied. Now if that is norm of G infinity is equals to M, then mod of G is less than or equals to M almost everywhere. So this implies mod of f dot G is less than or equals to M mod of f almost everywhere. So this implies that f dot G belongs to L1 of U. Since mod f belongs to LP of U and we have considered P is equals to 1, this implies L1 of U. Now integrating, so we get integration of mod f into G du less than or equals to M integration of mod f du, which is equals to norm of f over 1 and norm of G infinity. Now here we have taken P is equals to 1 and for this we have proved this theorem. But now what if P is greater than 1 and less than infinity? So for that, now we assume that one less than P less than infinity, and consequently for this 1 is less than Q less than infinity. Now this inequality, it is obvious if inequality is obvious if either f is equals to 0 or G is equals to 0. Either f is equals to 0 or G is equals to 0 almost everywhere. So we considered that none of these, that is nor f and nor neither f nor G equals to 0. So therefore consider f not equals to 0 almost everywhere and G not equals to 0 almost everywhere. So therefore by definition this implies that norm of F over P is greater than 0 and norm of G is greater than 0. Now applying the lemma is if 0 less than lambda less than 1, then alpha to the power lambda beta to the power 1 minus lambda is less than or equals to lambda into alpha plus 1 minus lambda into beta. This statement holds good for every pair of non-negative real numbers alpha and beta with alpha equals to beta. Now here for 0 less than lambda less than 1, this condition holds. That is for alpha to the power lambda and beta to the power 1 minus lambda is less than or equals to lambda into alpha plus 1 minus lambda into beta. So we have given this 1. Now here we put lambda is equals to 1 by P. And as P is greater than 1, this implies that lambda is less than 1. Therefore, as 1 by Q will be 1 minus 1 by P. So this implies that 1 by Q is equals to 1 minus lambda, since 1 by P is lambda. Now putting this value of lambda and 1 minus lambda in this equation 1, we get so here we have alpha to the power lambda, that is alpha to the power 1 by P, beta to the power 1 minus lambda, therefore 1 by Q, less than or equals to lambda into alpha. So lambda is 1 by P, so alpha upon P plus 1 minus lambda into beta. 1 minus lambda is 1 by Q, so beta upon Q. Let this be number second. Now we have discussed that if one of the function, that is F or G, is 0 almost everywhere, then the theorem is trivially true. So we have stated here that inequality is obvious if either of these F or G is 0 almost everywhere. So we have considered F not equals to 0 and G not equals to 0. So therefore from this we have mod of F over P greater than 0 or mod of G over Q is greater than 0. And also we have that integration A to B integration A to B. So we will state here that as inequality is obvious if F is equals to 0 almost everywhere and G is equals to 0 almost everywhere. So therefore consider F not equals to 0 almost everywhere and G not equals to 0 almost everywhere. So from this we have integration A to B mod of F over to the power P du is greater than 0, that is strictly positive, and integration A to B mod of G to the power Q du is also strictly greater than 0, and also norm of F over P is strictly greater than 0, and norm of Q norm of G over Q is strictly greater than 0. Now we said that is we define capital F of X equals to the function small f of X upon norm of F over P, and capital G of x is equals to small g of x over norm of g into q, and also that alpha to the power 1 by p is mod of f of x, and beta to the power 1 by q is equals to mod of g of x. Now this using this value in this equation 2, we get equation 2 implies that mod of capital F of x into mod of capital G of x is less than or equals to mod of capital F of x to the power p upon p plus mod of capital G of x to the power q upon q. So from this we get mod of f of x into g of x, that is combining the mod, which is less than or equals to mod of f of x to the power p upon p plus mod of g of x to the power q upon q. So integrating we get we get here integration mod of f of x into g of x du is less than or equals to 1 by p integration mod f of x to the power p du plus 1 by p into integration mod of g of capital G of x to the power q du. Now replacing this mod of f of x by this values, that is f of x upon norm of f over p, and this g of x by g of x over norm of g over q. So this is less than or equals to 1 by p integration of mod of f of x to the power p upon norm f du plus 1 by q into integration mod of g of x to the power q upon norm of g over q du. So from this we get so that is integration of mod of f of x into capital G of x du is less than or equals to 1 by p integration of f of x to the power p upon integration of mod of f of x to the power p, this is du plus 1 by q into integration of mod of g of x to the power p upon into du upon integration of mod of g of x to the power q into du. So this is less than or equals to 1 by p plus 1 by q, and it is given that 1 by p plus 1 by q is equals to 1. So therefore we have integration of mod of capital F of x into capital G of x du is less than or equals to 1. Now putting the values of f of x and g of x on this left hand side of this equation, so we get integration a to b mod of f of x into g of x du upon norm of f over p and norm of g over q less than or equals to 1. So this implies that integration a to b mod of f of x into g of x du less than or equals to norm of f to the over p and norm of g over q. So therefore this implies that norm of f g 1 is less than or equals to norm of f over p and norm of g over q, and hence the Holder inequality have been proved here. So hence proved. Now the next inequality is Minkowski inequality. So the statement says if f and g are the function in the LP space over U and p is greater than or equals to 1, then f plus g belongs to the LP space over U and norm of f plus g over p is less than or equals to norm of f over p plus norm of g over p. So this result we have discussed in previous video that if f and g belongs to the LP space over U, then f plus g also belongs to the LP space over U. So now to prove this, let's start with the proof. Now we have to prove that norm of f plus g over p is less than or equals to norm of f over p plus norm of g over p. So let this be number 1. Now we have mod of f plus g. If we split this, then this is less than or equals to mod of f plus mod of g. Now on integrating on both sides, so on integrating here we get integration of mod of f plus g du less than or equals to integration mod of f du plus integration mod of g over du. So this implies that norm of f plus g 1 over 1 less than or equals to norm of f over 1 plus norm of g over 1. So this result 1 is true when p is equals to 1. So therefore result 1 is true for p is equals to 1. Now we consider p strictly greater than 1. So consider p strictly greater than 1. So as we have, let 1 by p plus 1 by q is equals to 1. That is, this p and q are conjugate indices. P, q are conjugate indices. So therefore mod of f plus g to the power p is written as mod of f plus g to the power 1 into mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1. Now if we add this power If we add this power, then 1 plus p minus 1, eventually we get p. So now this is less than or equals to, we will split this first term. So mod of f plus mod of g and multiply by mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1. So now multiplying this in inside this bracket, so mod of f into mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1 plus mod of g into f plus g to the power p minus 1. Now again integrating on both sides. So on integrating, here we have integration of mod of f plus g to the power p du is less than or equals to integration of mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1 du plus integration of mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1 du. So let this be number second. Now we have f plus g belongs to the LP space over U. So this implies that mod of f plus g to the power p also belongs to the LP space over U. And then mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1 is equals to mod of f plus g to the power p by q. That is p minus 1 is equals to p by q. That is this f plus g belong to the power p minus 1 belongs to LQ space over U. Now from this we can apply Holder inequality on each term of this right hand side of equation 2. So therefore applying Holder inequality on each term on the RHS of equation 2. So therefore we get norm of f plus g over p to the power p is less than or equals to norm of f to the power p over p multiply by norm of f plus g to the power p minus 1 over q plus norm of g over p into norm of f plus g to the power p minus 1 over q. So this is less than or equals to norm of f over p, and this is by definition can be written as integration of mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1 to the power q du to the power 1 by q plus this norm of g over p, and this term can be written as integration of mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1 to the power q du to the power 1 by q. Mod of f plus g to the power p minus 1. So therefore this implies this is less than or equals to norm of f to the power p into integration of f plus g to the power p du to the power 1 by q plus norm of g over p in bracket integration of mod of f plus g to the power p du to the power 1 by q. So again this implies norm of f over p, norm of f and norm of f plus g over p to the power p to the power 1 by q, and similarly here norm of g to the power p, and here in bracket norm of f plus g to the power p this is over p to the power p to the power 1 by q. So therefore this implies that norm of f to the over p multiplied by norm of f plus g over p to the power p by q plus norm of g over p into norm of f plus g over p to the power p by q, and we have taken p by q equals to p minus 1. So therefore replacing p by q by p minus 1, we get this less than or equals to norm of f over p norm of f plus g over p, and instead of p by q we write here p minus 1 plus norm of g over p and norm of f plus g over p and to the power p minus 1. Now for norm of f plus g over p is equals to 0, then the inequality follows trivially. The inequality follows trivially. But if this norm of f plus g over p is not equals to 0, then dividing this, we will number this as 3, then dividing 3, then divide 3 by norm of f plus g to the power p minus 1 on both sides. So therefore we get norm of f plus g to the power p. Here on the left hand side it is norm of f plus g over p to the power p, and that is norm of f plus g over p to the power p, and if we divide this by norm of f plus g to the power p minus 1, then there will be subtraction of powers, so f plus g over p to the power p minus p plus 1. So for p minus p get cancelled, and we get norm of f plus g over p to the power 1. So this is over p to the power 1, and which is less than or equals to, here from the first term only norm of f to the power over p will remain, and here norm of g over p, and hence this Minkowski inequality is proved. Now in the next video lecture, we will start with the next article of this unit, which comprises of completeness of LP space, convergence in measure, then almost uniform convergence, and some theorems regarding that. Thank you.